Namaskar. Welcome to the example number 11 for the event progeny prospects. In this example, we are going to study a female chart about her progeny prospects and also timing of the childbirth. Apart from that, we are going to discuss about an important point. When the destiny planet is having supportive signification along with some weak significations for the progeny, either directly as a ruler or through the influence of the other strong unfavorable key planets, it indicates what that destiny is having some weakness by the other unfavorable significations. During that favorable Bugdi and during the favorable Dasa and Bugdi, if during that period the conception can take place and we're looking for the signification, looking for the key planets which are favorable for the progeny, if it is ruling the Dasa, then Bugdi, all these things will check and okay, it will favor for the pregnancy and delivery, that we will be seeing that. But during this process, we'll be looking for only the houses supportive for the fifth house or favorable or not. If it is having some unfavorable houses, we will see that though it is unfavorable because of the supports, it is getting reduced, and that way we will select. That is correct only. But the fifth house is the not only the house of progeny. That fifth cusp is the lagna of the child. Suppose the fifth cuspal lord or fifth cuspal sublord, importantly, it is in the star and sub of a planet which are signifying trouble-having houses to the fifth house. Trouble-having houses means unfavorable houses to the lagna of the child. Fourth house, sixth house, eighth house, 10th house, and 12th house counter to the fifth house. 4, 8, 12 houses to the fifth house will be 4, 8, 12 in different order. And apart from that, 10th house and 4th house. So 10th house is what? I mean, for the fifth house, it is going to be 8th house. Sorry, 6th house to the fifth house is going to be 10th house. So 4th house, 6th house, 8th house, 10th house, 12th house, and Badhagal are also playing role. It indicates what? The lagna of the child is signifying unfavorable houses. If it is strongly 4, 8, 12, 10th house are indicating, it is indicating some sort of defects. Defect means some sort of defect in the body parts, in the developments. It is possible. That is indicating that fifth cuspal sublord is signifying unfavorable houses to the fifth house matters. Along with that supportive signification, that only will support for the pregnancy. But the unfavorable planets are signifying those, unfavorable houses are giving planets, unfavorable key planets are influencing that planet strongly. Then that is going to be, we have to be careful. Suppose Mercury, Moon, because Mercury planet is, those significance signified the Mercury, the Karagatva will get affected. Nervous development, brain development can be into trouble. Sun and Saturn, bone development, skeleton development, brain development also into trouble. Such signification signified by which are the planets during the pregnancy when the fetus is growing. The development of such organs during that particular period will be a problem. In other words, when the destiny is signifying such unfavorable significations to the lagna of the child, if the Dasa Lord also having influence, having got the influence from such unfavorable key planets, then we need to be careful, especially during the Bugdi, in which Bugdi the conception is about to take place. If that Bugdi also under the influence of that unfavorable key planet strongly, then one that Bugdi and Antra, if the conception is taken place, that Antra also, if it is under the influence, and the subsequent Antras also, because When the conception taken place, I mean, slowly every month there will be a growth of each organs, especially from brain development, nervous development. All these things will start functioning inside the womb. So during that period, the influence of the unfavorable planets, if Mercury itself is affected, there will be problem in the development of the brain. So at the time, the delivery also happening in the period which is also under the influence of that, it is going to be worst, right? So it indicates what? There will be a problem. There can be conception, but there will be a problem in the development of the organs inside the mother's womb. So what we have to do, we have to check not only whether the destiny is promising, whether the dasa or bukti also supportive for the pregnancy, that is fine. But we have to look at from the point of lagna, from the lagna point of view for the child, from the child point of view, we have to look at it. Whether that lagna is signifying unfavorable houses to the lagna of the child with unfavorable houses, trouble giving houses to the growth of the organs, and if it is present strongly influencing that child and running periods also the same way, then importantly Mercury, Moon and Sun are getting affected, then even all the organs important, each organ has got important function in the development of each organ inside the body. So then we have to be very careful. So it means what? When the dasa itself is having signification, such signification, then we need to be very careful. So now let us check such situation happen in this chart. Now we are going to study the mother chart, supportive for the pregnancy and also delivery, and also how in the mother chart it is indicating some trouble to the growth of the fetus fetus inside the mother's womb. When the delivery happened, the child found it is not well, brain was not developed and improper development and also afflicting some problem to the internal organ functions and also longevity also weak. We will study those things in this chart. Example number 11, timing of childbirth and also troubles in growth of fetus inside the mother's womb. We will discuss the mother chart first, then we can also have a look at the child's chart. This is the chart of the mother. We are going to study the destiny on the child and also the, from the lagna point of view of the child, we will check those significations. Now let us do the general study. Whether that fifth house is afflicted by unfavorable planets and all, we will check. Lagna is, just a minute. Lagna is falling in the Taurus sign. Lagna of the native mother. Fifth cusp is falling in the Virgo. Fifth lord, Mercury, is in the same sign but in the fourth house and close to fifth house. It is indicating some weakness, but not bad. But fifth lord, Mercury, is conjoined with the Venus and the Sun. The occupant of the fifth house is Venus and Sun. Venus is what? Venus is for this Lagna Lord and sixth Lord. Sun is fourth Lord. It means for the fifth cusp, it is 12th house, this is second house, and it is ninth house. So the fifth Lord is influenced by the fourth Lord, that is not good, and also sixth Lord. To the Lagna for the native, it is indicating some weakness because it is talking about some health issues. Sixth house to the Lagna. Now, that Mercury is aspected by Jupiter. Not Jupiter, Moon, from the Jupiter sign. Moon is third lord to the Lagna, third lord from the 11th house. You can see that planet is third lord, Moon, in the sign of Jupiter. You can see Jupiter is posted in the sign of Moon and Moon in the sign of Jupiter. So Jupiter and Moon are in sign exchange. And also Jupiter is aspecting to the Moon. This chart actually we discussed in the marriage prospect, in the divorce case. We discussed in the marriage prospects in the previous event. I think example number 18, I hope so. So that also you can refer. The Jupiter and Moon are in sign exchange. In addition to that, Jupiter is passing its significations to Moon by aspect. So Moon is getting the multiple support from the Jupiter. If you look at whether Jupiter is a good planet or not, here itself we can check the self-signification of the Jupiter, so that we'll have some discussion here itself. Let me check this. Yeah. You look at the Jupiter. If you look at the unfavorable key planets, unfavorable significator, Jupiter is 6 and 8 cuspal sublord. 8th lord, 12, 11, 3 and 2, 6, 8 cuspal sublord. Right? So this is indicating 6 and 8, 8th lord. It is not good for the 7th house matters. In addition to that, the 6th house and 8th house are also not good to the 5th house matters. Because 6th house is 2nd house to the 5th house and 8th house is 4th house to the 5th house. In addition to that, this 11th house for this Lagna, it is a Maraga. Sorry, Badaga and Maraga both. Badaga Lord. So that Moon is occupying the 11th house, Badaga, and aspected by Jupiter, Rasi Lord, and sign exchange with the Jupiter itself, that Jupiter is strongly having 2, 6, 8. Moon, you can see Moon, third Lord occupying 11th house, 1 star Lord, and 4 and 7 cuspal sublord. But Moon represents Ketu, it is 4, 8, 12 star Lord. That Ketu also conjoined with this. So now what happens? Moon already influenced by 4, 8, 12. And Jupiter also talking about unfavorable Badagala to the 5th house and also 6, 8 significator strongly. That Moon is aspecting to this Venus, so and Mercury and Sun. So 5th Lord is influenced by the 6th house, 4th house by conjunction, and by aspect it is getting the influence of the Jupiter, Ketu and Moon. Unfavorable significations are passed on to the 5th Lord. So 5th house is afflicted by this signification. But because of the 5th house, 11th house, 3rd house significations, they are all supportive for the progeny also. But because of the 4th house and 8th house and 12th house and also 6th house and Badaga Lord, then it is also indicating some trouble to the Lagna of the 5th house. That 5th house is nothing but Mercury. Mercury is influenced by Moon. That Mercury is important planet for the nervous functions and development. So we have to be careful that 5th house representing Mercury, that is being afflicted by the Ketu, Jupiter and Moon by the unfavorable significations. That too, being the Badaga Lord, it is going to be more unfavorable. In addition to that, Saturn is also aspecting to Mercury, Venus and Sun. 5th Lord is aspected by that Saturn. Saturn is 9th Lord, 10th Lord. So far from the 5th house, it is 6th house and 5th house, but 6th Lord. From the 4th house, Saturn is aspecting. Saturn also from the sign of Jupiter. Now the Saturn also under the influence of Jupiter. Jupiter is the unfavorable planet and Ketu also. That is The Saturn in the sign of Jupiter, so Jupiter influence will be there on Saturn also. And you can see Jupiter is moreover, it is a free planet, no planet in its star. So that that through the support, it is going to be strong. Now that Saturn also, ninth lord, 10th lord from the occupying 8th house, 3, 7, 11 cuspal star lord and 3 and 12 cuspal sublord. So these 10, 8, 12 houses are all not favorable to the 5th house. The Saturn also being the Karaka planet for the obstacles to occupant of the 8th house or occupant of the 4th house from the 5th house. 4 is improper growth. 5th house is good growth, right? 4 is, it is not a, good house for the growth. From the 4th house, it is aspecting Saturn Karaka planet for in general obstacle causing and also slope planet. That itself is causing some affliction to this Mercury, not only by the Karagatva, but also with the unfavorable houses. Already influenced by Jupiter, it is aspecting. So that way, the 5th house is strongly influenced by the unfavorable planets. You can see in the previous lesson also would have studied, 7th lord is Venus, that also present here. So the same way, 7th lord also, Venus also would have got the experience from these houses. They are also 7th house matters also should be affected. Here 7th house is talking about the lagna of the husband, spouse, or marital prospects. Now what happened? That 7th lord also into trouble and the divorce also happened. Now that 5th house also will be into trouble and some problem in the longevity of the child. The longevity of the spouse also happened. I'm not the spouse. The longevity of the marriage prospects happen. It is weak. Longevity to the 5th house is also into trouble. And not only that, since the Mercury Karaka planet itself is affected, it can lead to problem in the development of the brain, provided that conception also is taken place during that Dasa Bhuddhi, which are all under the influence of these unfavorable significators. I think you are able to understand. So now let us check the periods in which he got married, and let us check the our what do you call, self significations, the strength and weakness also we can check it. Though we are going to talk about only now, it is talking about the child only, childbirth. Anyway, the unfavorable houses are going to be the same for the lagna of the child also. So Ketu 3, 4, 8, 12. So Ketu is having weakness. Third occupant, okay, 4, 8, 12. So it is a mixed one. 3 is fine, 4, 8, 12 is not good to the 5th house. You can give light rate also, but for the childbirth, that is fine. Okay, it is indicating obstacles. How far the obstacle is going to be, all depending on the other significations, right? So Venus, Lagna Lord, 6th Lord occupying 5th house and 10th cuspal sublord. 6 and 10 is not good. 1 and 5 is good. So it is also mixed. When compared to Venus, Ketu is going to be more unfavorable. You have to keep it in mind. So then after that, if we feel, we can change the color to the light red also. Because 3, 8, 4, 8, 12, I think we can feel, because the moon also having this 4 sublord, no, we can give a light red. Because the childbirth, no, 4, 8, 12 is not good. And sun, 4th lord occupying 5th house, 5 and 9. So 5, 5, 9 is good. Because of the 4th lord, we can give blue color. Moon, 3rd lord occupying 11th house, 1 star lord, 4, 7 cuspal sublord. So this is not bad, but being the 4th sublord and having got Ketu here, we have to give it as a mixed one. Please understand, moon is under the multiple influence of the Jupiter. That we will not be knowing here, only by way of support, study only we will be knowing that. So, but moon on its own, it is having that unfavorable, right? Favorable with the mixed significations. And Mars, 7th lord, 12th lord occupying Lagna and 10th star lord. So 7 and 1 is good, but 12 and 10 are not good. So Mars also mixed. And Rahu, Ninth occupant, 2-6 star lord and first cuspal sublord. So this is fine, but 6-2-6 is talking about the professional prospect, but still this is not not bad, but still we can see the second planet. Ninth lord, 10th lord occupying 8th house, 3, 7, 11, 3 and 12. So 10, 8, 12 are present. So for the fifth house matters, it is having some weakness, but this is fine. So we can give Rahu blue color because of these unfavorable houses. And Jupiter, 8th lord, 11th lord occupying third house, 2, 6, 8 cuspal sublord. So 11, 3, 2 are okay. But 8th lord and 2, 6, 8 cuspal sublord is not good for even for the fifth house. It is indicating, obstacles, struggles, and not good for the lagna of the fifth house. So this is not good. So what we can do, Jupiter, we can also give, either we can give pink, yes, because it is having favorable 11, 3, 2. It will support also, but it will lead to trouble also. And Saturn, 9th lord, 10th lord occupying 8th house, 3, 7, 11 star lord and 3, 12 cuspal sublord. 9, 3, 7, 11 are good, but 10, 8, 12 cuspal sublord is weak, so the Saturn also mixed. And Mercury, 2, 5, 4, 5 and 5, 9, 11. Definitely this is good, though it is occupying 4th house, close to 5th cusp, so Mercury will be a green color. So you can see, out of all the planets, Mercury, Sun, and Rahu, only they are having, so Mercury is good and Rahu and Moon, Sun are having blue. All are having mixed only. Mixed, we can say simple term mixed. But what are the houses involved? Those houses are, signifying what impact on the lagna of the native. Also for the fifth house matters, what it signifies, that we have to keep it in mind. So such unfavorable grouping, if it is present, then it is indicating some weakness. Especially you can see 4, 8, 12, one planet, 6 and 10, and then same 4, 8, 12 through the moon, it is present, and 12 and 10, and Saturn, second planet to Rahu, 10, 8 and 12, and so Jupiter 8, 6, 8, and Saturn 10, 8, 12. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and out of 9 planets, 6 planets are having with the 12,000, 8,000 grouping, and Venus is having 6 and 10 with the lagna. So there are many planets are having that 6, 8, 6, 12 and 10, 12, 10, 8, 8 and 12 grouping. That itself is indicating some trouble to the lagna also, some trouble to the fifth house matters also. Correct? Now let us check the destiny. Yeah. Fifth cuspal sublord. Just a minute. Fifth cuspal lord and fifth sublord is Mercury. So the Mercury planet is having these ownership. Mercury itself is having that. Why Mercury? I'm saying that Mercury is the Karaka planet for the nerve development, right? So now let us check the that fifth cuspal sublord and fifth lord Mercury is favorable or not. Mercury is good. As already said, Mercury is influenced by many planets by conjunction and aspect, and that Mercury in the star of Sun. Sun is fine. Fifth lord in the star of your planet 4, not good, but 5, 5, 9, and 5, right? 9 or 5. Now that Sun is also conjoined with the Mercury. And 12 level planet is Moon. Moon is the one which is having mixed, representing the Ketu, and that Moon is also aspecting to this Mercury and Sun. So Moon is afflicting Sun. Favorable, looking at that, it is supportive. So because of that only, that Mercury also supportive for the progeny prospects and also marriage prospects. But indirectly, that Moon is passing its Ketu, and the Moon is sign exchange with the Jupiter, and also, multiple support it is getting from the Jupiter, because Jupiter is aspecting to moon also. That Jupiter is our unfavorable planet, and also Saturn, right? Saturn is a mixed one, but Jupiter is strongly unfavorable. You can see that Mercury is aspected by Saturn, and Jupiter is influencing indirectly on the Mercury, right? And also Sun. So that Mercury under the influence of Jupiter, Sun is also under the influence of Jupiter, and the sublord planet itself is Saturn. That Saturn also influencing Sun and the Mercury. 2A level planet itself is Moon, representing Ketu, already influencing. That Moon is the one which is passing the unfavorable to the other planets, by way of aspect. That Moon is the one passing the Jupiter's unfavorable significations also. So fifth sublord in the star of a planet supportive for the pregnancy, and 2A level planet also supportive along with some obstacle. Only these terms only we used to say this is supportive with obstacles, but somehow it is balancing. But if you take the fifth house as the Lagna, then we will feel how that Mercury is influenced by the fifth lord, is influenced by the other unfavorable. That too, Jupiter is the Badhaga lord. So Badhaga lord, it is aspecting to the fifth lord by way of indirect, because Moon is sign exchange with the Jupiter. So Jupiter's influence will be more on Moon, and also Jupiter is aspecting to Moon. So that way, all the rulers are getting the unfavorable significations. The unfavorable key planet influencing the fifth house, that is Moon, Ketu, Saturn, and Jupiter, right? Jupiter is the planet which is which is influencing the Moon and also influencing directly Sun and Mercury. So the unfavorable key planets of the destiny is this Ketu and Moon and Jupiter and Saturn, right? These three planets are strongly playing role. And Mars also unfavorable present, but Mars is not directly playing role here. So these are the unfavorable key planets of the fifth house matters. Favorable key planets, we can see that Venus, Mercury is present, Sun is also present, and Mercury is good, and Sun, Rahu are all favorable. So now we have to check that Dasa Lord, which Dasa the native got married. Let me clear this one, so then only we can check it easily. Venus was the Dasa in which the native got married. So Venus is having some mixed significance. Star Lord is Moon. That Moon, we have pink shade is given. If you look at Moon, it seems to be good. 3, 11, 1, 4, 7, 7 sublord is good for the progeny marriage prospects. And also progeny is having some weakness, but it is good. And sublord also Moon and supported by the Mercury. So the one planet is becoming weaker, indicating some weakness. That star lord, it is supporting further reducing that unfavorable, but supporting to the favorable. That is the problem. So when unfavorable is unfavorable, there is no issue. It will not support. But unfavorable is supported by some favorable planet along with that some unfavorable impact. So both the things will happen. That is what happening here. Moon in the star of Mercury is supportive, but Moon and Mercury are influenced by the Jupiter and Saturn. They are all happening. They are all giving unfavorable. Venus itself conjoined with the Mercury and Sun, so that Venus itself is getting the influence of the Moon directly by way of aspect, Saturn also. So all are the unfavorable key planet of the destiny is Moon, Saturn, we discussed, and also Venus also playing role. Moon, Saturn, indirectly Moon, that is Ketu, Saturn, and Jupiter. You can see Ketu and Jupiter is playing role in supports because Jupiter is the free planet, so its role as a ruler is difficult. But Venus is in the star of Moon, by Jupiter is influencing, and where is Saturn? So Saturn is also having in the supports. You can see Venus has got Mercury good, and Saturn and Moon are in the supports, and indirectly that when Moon is coming, that Moon in having got the Jupiter as Parasilad and aspected by Jupiter. So that way, this influence of the Jupiter and Saturn are there for these planets, right? Now that marriage happened, let us not go in detail in the timing of event of the marriage, which I already discussed in the previous previous event. Marriage happened during that Venus Dasa, Moon Bukti. So Moon Bukti has supported for the marriage. How Moon Bukti supported, that we already seen that Moon is the good key planet of the Dasalad. Dasalad in the star of Moon, sub of Moon is a 7th cuspal sublord, having got good key planet signification, and despite some obstacle, it is in the star of Mercury, is good planet. So that way it is supportive. Sublord Venus is getting the support from the Moon, so that is somehow it is balanced, right? So Moon Bukti, the marriage happened, and Rahu Antra marriage happened, because Moon is a good key planet, and Rahu in the star of Moons above Moon, the same grouping is coming. So Venus, Moon, Rahu favored for the marriage. So marriage happened. Now once the marriage is happened, then we have to see the conception, whether the Dasa Lord is supportive for the conception. If the Dasa Lord is supported for the conception, then whether the Bukti Lord is also favorable for the conception. So Dasa Lord should support for the pregnancy. Bukti Lord Moon itself is supportive for the that conception. We have to check. Then comes the Antra Lord. We have to check that one. Now that Moon, if you look at the favorable, yes, for the child, if you talk about 5, 5, 9, 11, 2, 5, 9, all are supportive, and ruler link also forming. So Moon also will be supportive, definitely. Key planet of the Dasa Lord, Moon, Mercury are playing role, and Sun is also playing real favor. But if you look at, we already said that Moon planet for the 5th house matters, that Moon, Ketu, Saturn, and Jupiter are the unfavorable. That Moon itself is playing, and Saturn and Jupiter are not straight away playing role here, but they are in the supports. Moon will have the Jupiter is there, and Moon will have the Jupiter in its supports. Mercury will have Saturn also, and Mercury is aspected by Saturn, yes, and aspected by Moon. Indirectly, Moon is passing the Jupiter signification. That will not come here, but because Moon is getting the influence of the Jupiter, Moon is aspected by Jupiter, that Moon is aspecting to Mercury. So that we already discussed how indirectly they are coming. So Moon is having the unfavorable key planets. So that is the problem. In Moon, Rahu, that native, got married. So during Moon Bukti, Rahu Antra has given the marriage. But look at the Rahu, it's strong enough for the conception, pregnancy. Rahu star level having this weakness, and 2A level Mercury is good, but star lord and sublord having got that weakness because of this. So Rahu will not favor. Jupiter definitely will not favor. Then Saturn, you check. Saturn is okay, and it is unfavorable in source, but effect planet is Venus 1, 5, and 10. It is a mixed significator with the 5th house, and 2A level planet Moon is supporting to the 5 and 11, and sublord is Mercury. The favorable key planet of the Bukti Lord Moon is Mercury. That Mercury is playing role in the sublord, and that Mercury is passing ruler link to the Venus also, because Venus and Sun, Mercury is the sublord. You can see Venus will have Mercury here, and Saturn also has got Mercury here. And so that we know that Mercury is passing ruler link to the other levels, and that is star or sublord. Sun is also good. That is also playing role in the other levels. So that way, because it is also conjoined with Venus, Mercury, and Sun are conjoined with, all are conjoined. So that way, Sun is comparatively better under Moon Dasa, Moon Bukti, Venus Dasa, Moon Bukti, Saturn Antra is supportive for the conception. But you look, because of the supports and the sublord is good. But if you look at the signification, the key planet which are all we are saying trouble giving planets to the Lagna of the fifth house, eighth house, 12th house grouping, and 10, 8, 12 is not good. And it is third sublord for this what do you call, for these fifth house matters, the third house, sorry, not third house, 11th house, this is Badaka Lord. For the fifth house, Jupiter is the Badaka Lord. So if any 11th house is also joining, then it can lead to trouble that we have to check. Saturn in the sign of Jupiter, Badaka, and Venus is in the sign of Mercury. 1, 6, 5, 10 is okay, but in Venus in the star of Moon is aspecting, that is also from the sign of Jupiter and already aspected by Jupiter. Jupiter's role is not direct, but only by way of supports, because Jupiter is a sublord for only for Jupiter. You can Jupiter in the sub of Jupiter only. No other planet is having Jupiter in its rulers, because that is a free planet. So now, this combination, unfavorable key planet which are influencing the destiny and also dasa, that Saturn, Venus, Moon, Ketu, and Jupiter also there. So all are ruling here. So that is not good. So when Moon Bugdi, Saturn supported for the conception, but if you look at the house signification, they are not good to the fifth house matters. Therefore, 10th house is talking about fourth house to the fifth house. 8th house, 12th house are not good and further not supported by the 2A level planet. Mercury, somehow it is favorable, but Mercury and in the star of Sun, that is also favorable for the conception, but that Mercury also under the influence of the Moon. Moon is from the 11th house, Badaka house, it is aspecting, already influenced by the Jupiter, that already we discussed. When Saturn book Moon book the Saturn Antra, that conception taken place, and Mercury itself is running, Mercury star level fine, but 2A level, sub level, this grouping, Moon, Saturn, Venus, and also influence of the Jupiter, all are ruling here. So that also will not favor for the proper development. Mercury, Sun, these planets are under the influence of this Moon, Saturn. Okay, Mercury, Sun, aspected by Moon, aspected by Saturn, they are ruling the remaining levels. And Venus is already conjoined with them. So the Karga planet of the Mercury and they are important planet for the brain developments all getting disturbed. So then after that, Ketu is not good. I'm talking about the pregnancy 9 months period. Each antra will run under Moon Bugdi. Each antra will run. So when the 9 months is completed, when the delivery happened, that native was running Mars Bugdi. So Mars started. At the time of delivery, the child was born during the Venus Mahadasa, Mars Bugdi, Mars Antra itself. If you look at the grouping, yes, Mars in the star of Moon is supportive, and 2A level and sub level Mercury are strong favorable key planets supported by the Sun. You look at the grouping, yes, Mercury, Sun are good, and also star level planet Moon is aspecting to the aspected by the Mercury. Sun is also aspecting to it, and Mars also supportive only. So I mean, at the time of the delivery, Mars Bugdi running, Mars Antra running, they are capable to for the delivery, right? Their significations are favorable. But look at the planets which are having at the time of delivery also that Moon already playing role. But by the time when the conception taken place, this is not good. Development of the brain, that period is also not good. Then all the unfavorable are playing role in the gestation period. So it indicates what? At the time of that, I will tell you the date of child birth. Date of childbirth 24/11/2016. 24/11/2016, that child was born. So if you look at that date, 24/11/2016, Mars booked the Mars Antra. After 10/11, Mars booked the Mars Antra starts. So in this period only that child was born. But you know, the child was born. That if let us check the Sukshma also if possible. Mars 24/11 in Mercury Sukshma. Mercury Sukshma, suppose few seconds is different. It can fall in Mercury also, in on Saturn also, but all are unfavorable. If Mercury itself is playing, and Mercury is the one which is getting influenced by all the other unfavorable moon, Saturn, Venus, or Saturn also the same way. So that child had got the a brain development problem. So it means what? That child is mentally disturbed child, or mentally, disabled, and because of the improper development of the brain is not developed fully. And otherwise all the other bodies are good, but only the brain development is not good, mentally not good. So that is because of the Venus is afflicted, fifth lord itself, Lagna of the fifth house, and also Moon is afflicting it. Moon, Ketu, all unfavorable are present, and those periods only that conception also taken place. Venus Dasa, Moon Bukti, when the conception was supported because of the star level Mercury, but that is not being further supported. That supported for the pregnancy also, supported for the trouble to the Lagna of the that child also. So that period when the conception also taken place, all the unfavorable again playing role. So when destiny already influenced by this unfavorable to the Lagna, that too ruled by Moon, Saturn, and Mercury's influence, to automatically it led to the problem. So when we are studying this, we have to, just like that, we should not go, the houses are mixed one supported by planets. But if you look at the mixed significators, which are the planets? Or which planets are signifying this? That Moon, Ketu, 4, 8, 12, and Saturn, obstacle causing planet, natural planet, that 8, 10, and 12th cuspal sublord, and also influenced by the Jupiter, because Saturn in the sign of Jupiter. Jupiter is a free planet, is already unfavorable, and afflicting the moon by way of sign exchange, also by aspect. So that way, Dasa Lord itself is signifying this. Dasa Lord, Venus in the star of moon, sub of moon, already influenced by strongly by the Jupiter. In such cases, it is advisable not to go for such a pregnancy, because two things we can estimate. The destiny for the seventh house, that marriage also not very strong. And in that case, it is better not to go for advice, not to, go for any conception during that period. So what will happen? The delivery will happen, but child also will not be into child health also will not be good. And also that progeny, that marital prospect also not going to be good. So that female native will suffer on both ends. So now one more thing also you can see, that child which was born, that child also having weak destiny on the longevity. You can see if you take the Lagna of the fifth house, I said Starlord is fine, but to a level, then sub-level, and Starlord of the sublord, and influence of this Jupiter, all are indicating trouble giving house to the fifth house. And because it has got 4th house, 8th house, 12th house, and 10th house, 8th house, and 6th house, influenced by Badaka Lord, indicating some weakness to the longevity, right? Now let us check the birth chart of the child, how it is indicating here in that birth chart. Now we have to keep it in mind, the unfavorable planets in the in the mother chart, which supported for the progeny, but is also having trouble giving houses to the health. What are they? Jupiter, and indirectly Ketu, Ketu, Jupiter, that indirectly Moon, and Saturn. Jupiter, Saturn, and Ketu representing moon, right? So that way we have to see that other planets also there, and importantly moon also will play a role, but moon representing Ketu, that is important. So let us check that planet, that native, child which was born. That will have definitely Mercury role will be there, because that is the fifth sublord, will be playing role in the ruling planets of the child. And moon also will be playing role strongly, because the conception taken place during that period, that moon will be there, Mercury will be there, but they also will be influenced by the unfavorable key planets that we have to find. Now let us check the birth chart of that child now. Keeping this in mind, let us check there. Now we are going to look at the child's birth chart. In this, we like to, have something in my mind, in your mind, that in the mother chart, the trouble-giving planets for the lagna of the child was Jupiter and Mercury, indirectly because Ketu is connected, and Jupiter also influencing by way of multiple impact. So Jupiter, Moon, Ketu, and Saturn, trouble-giving planets, also aspecting to the fifth cuspal lord, fifth cuspal sublord of Mercury, and Venus, which is already conjoined with the fifth lord, because Venus is sixth lord and 10th sublord, I remember. So the unfavorable planet which are influencing that, because Dasa lord also Venus, under the influence of Saturn, Moon, and Jupiter indirectly, because Jupiter is a free planet, the role is limited. So definitely when the conception also happened during that period, because conception taken place in Venus Dasa, and Saturn Bugdi, and Moon Bugdi, Saturn Antara. They are all having other unfavorable K planets, whatever discussed. So when these happen, definitely, and the delivery also, these planets will be influencing the lagna of the child. Now let us examine the birth chart of that child. This is the birth chart of that baby, female baby, born on 24 November 2016. And as I was telling that key planets, which are unfavorable planets for that mother, the mother, it was signifying, as I said, Jupiter. Just a minute, Jupiter. Let me write it down here. Jupiter and Moon, of course, Ketu, and what else? Saturn and Venus. They are the important planets are influencing the significant unfavorable significator to the fifth house. You can see that native, that baby was born. Look at the ruling planets of the baby. It means the moon rulers and lagna rulers. You can see the natal chart ruling planets. The natal chart's ruling planet is Mercury. Natal's moon sign lord is Mercury, conjoined with Jupiter. And the moon star lord is moon itself. Moon is in own star in the Asta star in the Virgo sign. And sublord is Mars. Mars is also, I think it is fifth lord in the chart. So that is supportive, but also I think it's signifying 12th house there. Moon is conjoined with Jupiter. Already Moon is influenced by Jupiter. Here Moon again is influenced by Jupiter by way of conjunction, that too occupying 8th house. And Moon in the sign of Mercury. Mercury is a fifth cuspal sublord planet. So that Mercury is conjoined with the Saturn in the 10th house. Understand? So Moon is posted in the sign of Mercury, in star of Moon itself, influenced by Jupiter. That is not good. Ascendant is Lagna is occupied by Ketu. That's what we said. Lagna is occupied by Ketu. In the birth chart of the mother, it was trouble-giving planet. That Lagna lord, Saturn, is conjoined with the 8th lord. fifth lord, that Mercury. So that Saturn, Mercury are conjoined. Which are the unfilled key planets we are talking? They are all present here. And Lagna star lord also Mars, and sublord is Venus. So where is Venus? Venus is in the sign of Jupiter. For this Lagna, for this Sthira Lagna, ninth house, Venus. Venus is the Badhaga lord for this Lagna. That is for the native, for the child. You can see that Lagna lord Saturn is posted in the 10th house, is conjoined with 8th lord. And Ketu Rahu, that Lagna is that native, that child is under the influence of the Rahu and Ketu. You can see in Ketu, from Ketu, if you take Mars, Venus, all are positioned within this axis of the Ketu and Rahu, right? That is also indicating they are under the influence of this Ketu and Rahu. If they are all unfavorable, they are going to be more unfavorable. They are favorable, they are going to be more favorable. Okay. Now let us check the that Lagna in moon, in which nakshatra it was born, the Dasa Lord. Let me clear this one. Look at the moon, Dasa, moon, star, moon, 2A level, sublord is Mars, 6844, 6844, all are 6844. It is not good to the Lagna, right? So that too in the sign of Mercury. Mercury is 5, 8, 10, 3, third house. Third house is talking about the, the nerve, also communication and the thinking process, all these things, 5, 8, 10, 12. That is also is conjoined with in the sign of moon, and that Mercury also in own star and sub of Mars, and here also moon in the star and sub of Mars. You can see unfavorable grouping strongly signified by moon and Mercury. And look at the Lagna sublord. Lagna sublord is Venus. 128, 128, 128. This is not good. Venus is fourth lord, ninth lord. Lagna sublord itself is Badhaga lord, ninth lord. For this Lagna, it is Badhaga. Occupying 11 is fine, but talking about 1, 2, 8, it is not good to the longevity. 1, 2, 8, 1, 2, 8. And sublevel is Jupiter, 2 and 8, and supported by the star lord moon, 2, 6, 8, 4, 4. It is not good that moon and Jupiter are in a conjunction, and Jupiter also passing ruler link, because Venus is in the sign of Jupiter only. All are connected. So that eighth sublord, that longevity, also talking about 2, 2, 2 and 2 and 8. It is not talking about the, what do you call, weak. It is talking about the weak longevity. And moon dasa itself was running. So moon dasa and Bugdi lord is Mars at the time of birth. Mars is third lord and star level and sub level. It is indicating some weakness. Third house matters are supported, and third house also getting affected, right? And Rahu also the same way, but Rahu is good and this is not good. But Jupiter is 11th lord, somehow is balancing. You can see all the planets are under the influence of Venus and moon. You see the planet which are all supported for the conception during that period, which are the unfavorable key planets are ruling. They are all ruling for all the planets. That is the problem. Now under the moon, when Saturn, moon dasa, Saturn Bugdi was running. Saturn is talking about the Lagna of the child. And it is talking about 6 unfavorable grouping, right? In the star of Mercury. And that Saturn and Mercury also in conjunction. So Saturn is passing its impact to the Mercury. That Mercury sublord is moon, already in the sign of Mercury itself. All are connected. So that Saturn 1, 12, 8, 2, 6, 10, to 6, 9, 12 passing its influence to the other planet. So they are all not favorable. During Saturn, Lagna is becoming weaker. Lagna is going to experience some problem. Definitely, sublord is indicating that. Saturn is also strongly indicating the role of the Lagna moving towards unfavorable. So during that moon dasa, and during that moon dasa, Saturn Bugdi was running. That is not good, right? So then during that period, which period will be more unfavorable? That we have to check it, right? So let us check that that child actually expired during one period. I'll tell you the date. That the child expired, just a minute, expired on 3/5/2020. 3/5/2020. So let us check the date. Just a minute. 2/5/2020. Moon Dasa, Saturn Bugdi, that is Moon is 6th Lord, Saturn is Lagna Lord, 2/5/2020, Mercury Antra. Mercury planet is the one which is the ruler of the Saturn, already influenced by Saturn. That is the planet 5, 8, 10, and third cuspal sublord. Third house is talking about the birth also. That in the star of, suppose, fine, but sublord is talking about 3, 10, 12, 1, and 7. Eighth lord moving towards this one. Seventh house is Maraha also, and that is further supported by moon. So during that period, that child expired. What is the date? 3/5/2020. 3/5 means you can see moon sukshma. Moon itself is taken away the breath. So it is not having any favorable. Moon has to give only unfavorable in execution. So when Mercury already given the green signal, under Mercury, moon has taken the breath. So we can see how far that problem is, carried from the mother's womb itself. If you see that no planet is free from the influence of the moon, and Ketu and Saturn and Venus, all are having their influence, all are having unfavorable signification also in here. So that way, when the conception taken place, that unfortunately that same moon itself has given the delivery. During moon Bugdi, moon Dasa itself, that native was born. That itself is indicating strong unfavorable. That is indicating Maraga by the Mars. That way, that longevity also weak, already we discussed. So that way it is indicating weak longevity and improper development of the brain, and also that running dasa. Suppose dasa lord is it is not moon, it is some other dasa lord was running. So during that unfavorable dasa bukti coming, until that time that child will be alive. But though it will give the mental disturbance or improper brain growth, that since that Lagna and 8th house are connecting to the Maraga Badaga houses, and also that is connecting to the weak destiny. So that way, since the destiny is weaker, longevity is weak, then automatically, then when Dasa immediately started, it is given the such problem. When the destiny, some people would have seen that they will have such mental disability, but they will be living long. There will not be any problem to the longevity. So because the longevity is signified, the Lagna and 8 will not be having such unfavorable significations to the longevity. But that can be found in the mother chart itself, the Lagna, Kaspal sublord. If it is not in the star and sub of unfavorable planet, unfavorable significator to the Lagna of the child, and also not or. Sometimes it will be good along with that some weakness, but influenced by strong unfavorable key planets by way of conjunction and aspect that we have already studied. In such cases, such dasa also running, then it is better not to go for conception during that period. I think you are able to understand how the mother chart is signifying such thing, how it is carried to the fetus also, because that child, fertilization also happened, conception also taken place during that period, wherein so those unfavorable key planets also playing role in the development also, they are signifying those things. When the delivery also, same planets only were ruling that child and leading to the problem in the brain growth and also weak longevity, and finally that child died. I think we're able to understand. So we have to look into all these things also. Thank you. We'll meet in the next example. Good luck.